Hi, my name is Jonas, this is Sublime Media, and on this channel I talk about records and record-related stuff. Today it's gonna be all about used records. This is a recent vinyl finds, but it's not that recent. It's actually like months and months since I got these. I find it hard to make up time for listening to the records that I got actually nowadays. So some of these I've played, it's been months since I played, so bear with me. But I wanted to file them in my old collection. So yeah, I'm gonna do it like this. I'm gonna start with cheap heats in my opinion, then I'm gonna go to the biggest Grail that I have, and it's a Grail, in my opinion it's a Grail, and we could continue from there, okay? But first off, as always, cue music. Yeah, I think that these are cheap heats. I think most of them are below 10 euro at least. So I'm going to start with this. This is the Undisputed Truth, Method of the Madness, a 70s funk record, which is great. And I say great for all the records I'm going to show you, because all of these are going into my collection. If there are any record that isn't going into my collection that I don't think is good enough, I won't show it, because I'm going to sell it. So obviously I'm going to say that every one of these are recommended and are good in my opinion, because they are going into my collection. So yeah, Undisputed Truth, great one. This is from the big collection that I got. I didn't feel like I wanted to sell this. It's not worth that much, but the music is great. So this is going into my small Jimi Hendrix collection. I don't know if this is a cheap heat. I should have done the research. But anyways, this is Cactus, their first record from the 60s. And it's actually a first US stereo press of this. But I don't think that this is that rare and hard to get. Actually, it's a pretty cheap one because they sold so many records back in the day. Highly recommend it. This back in the day I got as a VCLT from Psych. So this is Rhinoceros. I had it, but when I got this I actually sold Psych's version. Don't tell him, because this was in a little bit better condition. So that's a keeper, maybe a 2.5 out of 5 when it comes to that. So not a masterpiece. And last but not least, this I bought mainly for the record label that it was released on. This is a ESP record with Jerry Moore. Life is a Constant Journey Home. A little bit more folk, singer-songwriter. They did some of that sort of genre, but at the same time released Albert Eiler. So damn cool, and this is highly recommended. It's not a 5, but it's a 3.5 or something like that. So yeah, that was cheap heat. Let's go to the big Grail. So let's just pause for 2 seconds here and define what is a Grail. Well, we have talked about it. I have talked about this for millions and millions of times, but I think that this is a Grail. For me, this is a Grail because it's a record that I've wanted for a very long time. It's not inexpensive, so it's not easy to get it if you don't have unlimited amounts of money. And when you get it, when you can get it, it's often in pretty rough shape. But with that being said, I looked it up and there are 5 selling right now on Discog. This exact press, 5 is selling now on Discogs, starting at 350 euros or something like that. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about the 1970 record by a Demon Frost called Africa. They released 2 records, one in 1970, and the next one didn't come until 1976, I think, or 78. A long time afterwards, at least. I don't know how it sounds. I've never heard it. I don't have it. I have it in my want list. But this were on my want list since the day I started sort of collecting a little bit more obscure vinyl. Listening to a little bit more obscure music. That went beyond Stones, Dylan and Beatles. You know that stuff. I think the first time I saw this was in one of those lists of records you need to listen to before you die. Africa. What I really love about this record is that it's a fusion record. And fusion, not in the sense that it's rock and jazz. Absolutely not. In this case, it's a fusion between all the genres that I love. So you have prog, you have psych, you have a little bit of a folk touch, maybe. I'm gripping at straws here. But you definitely have funk and you have soul in it too. So yeah, on Dawn Records 1970, and Dawn Records gave us Kirmuss, just to name one. This UK original is not easy to get, and often you have to shell out like 400, 500, 600 euro for an original press in okay shape. This is in great shape, and I got it for a great price by a fellow collector here in Sweden. So yeah, super happy with finally having an original press of this. Okay, from the big collection came 2 records that I had no idea about even existed, that this group even existed. We talk about that sort of white blues from the mid to late 60s, and this in this case it's from the US. Most of the records I think were from the UK that came with the collection, but this is US. They were from LA. This is the Dirty Blues Band on Bluesway Records. They released 2 records, both of them are here, self-titled, and this one is called Stone Dirt, 1968-69 I think. Great one. I would never buy this in a store just on a hunch, because they are a little bit more pricey than your average records. I had no idea about them. Great one. If you're a blues fan, and I've become one, then these are recommended. Both are first UK pressings on stateside. It wouldn't be a recent Vinyl Finds video without at least one private press record, I feel. And this is one. I got this in a big bundle, so I didn't pay that much for it. Hardcore Soft Touch from 1980. But it looks like a 1980 cover artwork, but it sounds more like a 1975 record or something like that, like mid-70s. It's just as told, a hardcore record on the first side, and the second side is a soft touch record. No, not really, but Garrick is the name of the artist, and there are different sort of touches of each side, hardcore and soft touch. My copy came with the lyrics insert. Yeah, and if you're into that sort of acid archives obscurity, then this is a thing that you should check out. There's one sample online on YouTube that you can listen to. I don't think that this is a very popular record out there, and to be honest, this is not a 5, absolutely not. But it's a quirky, cool one to collect. So it's going into the collection right now. Let's see what the future brings. Next one is also a rare ass record, and this was also in the big collection. But to be fair, if I saw this in a store, I would buy it in an instant. Maybe not this press, because this is a very expensive one, but definitely an early press at least, because everything in this time period that Fairport Convention released is gold, in my opinion. And this is What We Did on Our Holiday, 1969, their third or fourth release. And this is actually a first UK press of this. And how do we know and establish that this is a first UK press? Well, there are some giveaways. This is the big island text label, but with the big bullseye to the left of the spindle hole. Another thing that established this as a first true UK first press is that it's a laminated front but a matte backside. So that's how you know. So I think I have like Fairport Convention's first 4, 5, 6 records, something like that now. And yeah, no, not the first one. The first one, their debut, I'm still looking for. But the other one, 4 or 5 that came after that, I think I have. And this is great. One of my favorites. Maybe, yeah, second favorite, something like that with Fairport Convention. So if you have followed me, you know that I'm a huge sucker for Italian prog. It has a special place in my heart. I can't deny it. There's something with this sound that just resonates with me. So Antonius Rex released the record in 1975, maybe? Something like that, with one of the most epic cover artworks ever from Italian prog. It looks like this. So just look at that. It's on a small label called Tickle, and I don't know if Tickle didn't have the rights for that cover artwork or whatever, but when they released their second press, it looks like this. Now the first press is really, really rare. It's rare like hen's teeth, and it costs a lot of money. And so does the second press, even if it's ugly as hell. It looks more like a 80s hard rock record or something like that, or Smell the Glove with Spinal Tap. I don't know. You only get a little bit of a snippet of the original cover artwork. Other than that, it's butt ugly. I actually like the backside more than the front, because it's at least a little bit interesting. Anyway, so this was released in 1978. Now, this is such a great example where, as we collectors beggars can't be choosers, right? Because the first press is so damn expensive. The second press is also expensive, but when you find one in this condition and you get it pretty cheap, I couldn't resist. Like, the vinyl is in better condition than the cover artwork. It's not in perfect condition, but it plays through great. So I have an original press. I have the second press. I have a nice sounding version of it. Yeah, Antonius Rex. Sora is the title of the record. They released one more record, and then it took like 30 years before they released anything else, I think. Never heard the second one. Only heard this. A band that I haven't really sort of ventured into, and I feel a little bit ashamed that I haven't, is Jane, the German rock group from beginning of the 70s. This is the second one from 1973. So I started off with the first one. I showed that in a video or two back, something like that. And I also got the second one. And man, I mean, both of them are great. So I'm going to keep on searching for at least the early ones by Jane, see what I can come up with. I actually managed to get the first German press in pretty good condition, and you know that it's a first German press because it has the green brain label, which we all love and adore, but in this case it's metronome spelled over the entire label, which the later one didn't have. I think that this is a Kraut record, that it's labeled as a Kraut record, but Kraut record in this case is just like music from the 70s, 60s, 70s in Germany, because to me it has to have a little bit of that electronic sort of sound to it. And with that being said, I think that Can is a Kraut rock band, and they don't do electronics in the beginning, but Jackie Libesai, who steers the band forward with his drumming, definitely have that sort of metronome sort of sound to it, which this doesn't have at all. This is more of a rock, 70s rock record through and through. So yeah, and if you're into that, if you don't know this, obviously check it out. It's one of the big ones when it comes to German music in the 70s. And yeah, finally in the collection. This next one is like, I was on the fence, maybe I'll sell this down the line, but because I have the first two, the second and the third record with this band. I found this was also in the big collection, in the big collection. So I got it for a great price. So I couldn't really let it go, but all of them, like the three records, are just like so really. So this is the debut album by the Norwegian hard rock band Titanic. I think they are labeled as prog sometimes, and yeah, maybe hard rock progressive, but it's more of a straight hard rock group, in my opinion. This is the first Dutch release on CBS Records. As I said, now I have all three, but it's not my favorite music out there. So, talking against myself a little bit, because everything that I put in my collection is recommended. You have to check this out before you buy it, because it's not, I don't feel like it's, maybe a 2 out of 5, something like that. So I think I'm gonna finish this with a pretty good bang. This is my second favorite one from the batch, and we're talking about Marta Valles, Fiends and Angels from 1969 on London Records. So this is also from the big collection that I bought, and I think that it's a first press, stereo press of this. It has that famous indicator hole where blue is stereo and red was mono. Great one. So yeah, I feel like when I saw this in that big collection, I was blown away, because this has been on my want list forever and ever. It's a great piece of music from 1969. And the funny thing is that there's no indication of who's playing on the backside, and maybe they would sell more copies when back in the day if they sort of announced who's playing on it, because there are some pretty big hitters playing on this one. You have Jack Bruce on bass, to name a few, Jim Capaldi and Mitch Mitchell on drums, and on guitar you have Eric Clapton on one track. Keyboards you have Chrissy McVie, and on organ you have Brian Auger. So yeah, and okay, I think that's it. So yeah, and a lot of other people. Great music, great record. So glad to add that to the collection. And into the big shelf they go. So if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments down below. And yeah, subscribe or comments on any of the records, really. I mean, that would be awesome. So yeah, I'll see you in my next video. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.